Hi, dear Power Mind, how are you today? You have to absolutely drop me a comment if you knew this. Cinnamon is actually the wrong cinnamon can actually damage our liver health if we eat it in large quantities. Did you know that? I actually recently I came across a post that said there are two types of cinnamon, and if you buy the wrong one, this can seriously damage your liver health. I didn't know that. So I thought, oh my God, I have to absolutely share this with you because it seems, and of course I did the research. As you know me, I'm a researcher, I'm a social psychologist, and I'm doing this series on better aging, on active living, on healthy living, on critical health literacy that I still can't pronounce. I'm doing this series actually so that we can share stuff that just recently came out. And I dug into it, and it's only 2025, the most recent research on this. It's incredible. So bear with me. I'm going to put together for you the most essential information. So basically, what are the two types of cinnamon? Which one you need to actually totally evacuate from your kitchen? I will actually also give you some tips what you can do with this wrong type of cinnamon if you don't want to chuck it away. So there's brilliant ways to use it. I'm doing that at the moment. And also, I'm going to share with you the research I found on why this is actually dangerous to if you eat it in large quantities. So bear with me and welcome to the Mind Body Triad. And for those of you who don't know me, welcome and thank you for joining me here. I'm doing this series on really conscious aging and feeling healthy above the age of 50 for a reason. I'm a fan of the social media platforms where we can share insights that actually receive wisdom, fake science, or even outdated science, or stuff that has been transmitted over decades and everyone believes it, but it's actually damaging our health. Because me personally, I don't want to eat stuff that is actually bad for my health. And so this cinnamon thing, so let's get to that topic. This cinnamon thing, it's actually completely, it has shocked me because I used to think cinnamon is just cinnamon. So if I see cinnamon powder in the supermarket, I can buy it without having, fear that it might damage my health. So as I said in the beginning, please drop me a comment if you knew this. I did not. And so basically this cinnamon mistake I did for years because I use cinnamon a lot because I'm aware of the antioxidant properties of cinnamon, of the antifungal properties. It's a really good health boost if you add it. For example, I add it in the morning to my chia pudding. I add it also to smoothies. Also, some of you might use it in traditional patisserie. If you have a nice Christmas tart, you might want to use cinnamon because the taste is quite nice. But what I didn't know is, and this leads us to the first point, which is what are the two types of cinnamon? So there are two different cinnamon trees, actually. These cinnamon sticks or the powder, what are they actually made from? It is basically the inner bark of two different types of trees. So the first type you need to know about is Cassia cinnamon. This is found in China, in Indonesia, in Vietnam. And this Cassia cinnamon tree is a large stem tree, and the inner bark of this tree is actually used for winning what we know as cinnamon or cinnamon powder. Then the second type is Ceylon cinnamon. It's also a tree. It's a slightly smaller one. And again, the cinnamon we know, or the cinnamon sticks we know, are made from the inner bark of that tree. Now, what is the difference between these two types? So the Cassia cinnamon from China, from Indonesia, from Vietnam, and the Ceylon cinnamon from Sri Lanka. The difference is that in the first one, the Cassia cinnamon, and this is unfortunately, and this is why this video is so important, Cassia cinnamon actually contains a compound that is called coumarin or coumarin. I don't know how to pronounce it. It depends on the language you speak. This compound actually can cause liver damage if it's consumed in more than 0.1 milligram quantity, so per day. So just to put this into perspective, if you add a teaspoon of cassia cinnamon to your whatever you consume, you are already consuming 5 milligrams. So 0.1 milligram of cassia cinnamon is the maximum you should consume. Why? Because the coumarin in this compound, basically in cassia cinnamon, is basically damaging your liver. So the studies I found, and I will get to the research I consulted, basically says that the liver has a hard time to process this compound. It's actually very difficult. So it can lead to liver damage if you consume that in large amounts and regularly. So this is so important because the liver is one of the most important organs in our body to detoxify. And if we damage the liver with a compound that actually gives us strength in eliminating toxins, it cannot help our health. And the paradoxical thing about this is, like, I used to think, oh, I'm doing something for my health in consuming cassia cinnamon, and actually I was not. Now, how is the Ceylon cinnamon? How is that different? The Ceylon cinnamon contains as well coumarin, but really in a tiny small amount, so an amount that won't damage your health. And it is also the cassia cinnamon is, the Ceylon cinnamon is a quality that is much higher for the antioxidant properties for your health. So you can actually consume it exactly for those reasons I named: the antioxidant powers, the antifungal powers, the basically the benefits for your health. So what you need to know now, the important thing is, I actually thought when I started to investigate this in the research, I started to think, the science must be settled about this. This must be something just I didn't know. But no, there are studies from 2025, so just last year, that came out that actually confirmed that, first of all, the generally sold supermarket shelf cinnamon was mostly cassia. And actually, this research, I will link it in the description. You can have a read yourself. This research showed that there's high quality concern. So if you buy a small amount of cinnamon powder, you probably, even when it's labeled as Ceylon, that's now the tricky part, you probably get a mix of cassia and Ceylon powder. And why do you get that? Because cassia is much cheaper. So what they actually found in these research, and there was one also by one study also by the European Commission that showed that there is mixed products, that the powder that is just labeled as cinnamon and nothing else, and I checked in the cinnamon products that I had at my home, there was no indication whatsoever of the origin of this powder. So you can actually bet that this one is either just cassia or a mix. You actually have to look for specific high quality brands that really, disclose the source of their cinnamon powder. And it needs to be from Sri Lanka. So it needs to be labeled as Ceylon Cinnamon, 100%. Now, there was also one study, a recent one, I think it was also 2025, that actually showed that people who consumed this cassia cinnamon powder in regular amounts can develop liver disease. And that is why I did this video, because it really made me kind of realize that there was, for years, there was complete darkness around this really important health fact. So drop me a comment if you knew this, and also if you want to share your personal experience, or if you have come across similar things about health myths that don't help us, in our process of living, please share them, because I want to use this platform to share important information that can help us in our quality of life. Now, the bonus point I wanted to share with you is now the question, what do you do with your cinnamon stock that you might have like me at home? And I just did that. I completely emptied my kitchen pantry. I had a lots of cinnamon that was just labeled as cinnamon, where I don't know the origin. And also, you know what is also an indicator? If the cinnamon powder is kind of has a darkish, reddish kind of color to it, that's probably cassia powder. But in any way, if you don't know what it is, assume it's cassia, so it's the unhealthy one, and that one you need to eliminate, not for human consumption. So, what did I do with it? Now, I researched what are uses for cinnamon powder apart from eating it. And one thing that really made my day was finding out I can use it in my garden. Or even if you have a balcony with little plants, you can use it as a powerful anti fungicide. It's antifungal, so you can sprinkle it lightly on your plants to actually avoid that there's fungus developing. You can also use it as a spray. You can put it in water, add it to water in a little spray as a pest deterrent, because there's one compound in cinnamon that actually repels pests, and that is really useful. And also, and this is what I will use it, I usually do for my garden herbs, I do little cuttings. For example, recently I planted rosemary, and it can be used, cinnamon can be used as a rooting aid for cuttings that you might plant. So this is just an inspiration, right? I used it now in this way. So I kind of transformed all my cinnamon powder in a little spray, and I use it as a rooting agent. I also kind of sprayed it on other plants that I suspected to have some fungus. In that way, I don't have to throw it away. So it can be useful in the garden. Also, let me know if you have other inspirational ideas how to use cassia cinnamon powder instead of just throwing it away. That would be really helpful. And as always, I mean, send me your experiences with things that you recently came across, because I'm gathering all this information. You know what is brilliant? To see that positively, what is brilliant about our time right now is that we have access to far more information, so we can find out these quality concerns or stuff that were like received wisdom that is not really true. I will very soon also do a video on the seed oil fallacy. I mean, we used to believe that it's okay to cook with seed oils for decades. And if you're like me, you have used seed oils in your kitchen, and just now it's coming all to the surface that it's actually not healthy at all. And that these oils actually cause clogged arteries and not what were we vilifying? I think it was eggs and other healthy stuff that we should eat. So stay tuned if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, so that we can stay in touch, and see you in the next video.